want to do a quick video of the interface for Applied Acoustic System Strum Electric. It's a really cool sounding guitar simulator. I'm just going to do a quick rundown of all the parameters that are available here. First up is the Midi indicator. It's like a LED that shows you that you're receiving Midi. Next is your Midi selection. Next is a compare button. If you've edited a preset or one of your patches, you can compare your edit to the original. Next up is a reverb. Gives you a nice clean reverb. Next is your overall volume. Next to that is a meter showing you your current level. Down here is the amplifier section. You have two amplifiers. The first one is the clean amplifier. Second one is your distorted amplifier. In the clean amplifier, you have a filter here that is basically, it brightens the sound up. Next to that, of course, is your drive, and you can overdrive amplifier number 1. Or, of course, you make number 2 nastier. Here is a mid, cut, or boost, and if you set it straight up and down, there's no effect at all. Okay, next to that is the level for the amplifier. Now you have a 2-band EQ, a low and a high, and this is the on-off for the amplifier. Here is a spring reverb in addition to the reverb up here. Give you a simulated spring reverb. And then over here is your cabinet modeling. You have a closed back and an open back. Of course, your on-off button for that. And then over here you have two effects processors. One is before the amplifier. The second is after the amplifier. You have an on-off button here for your effects. Then here are your selections of the effect, and each effect has 3 parameters that you can adjust. If you're running Strum Electric in your DAW, you can synchronize the effects to your host. Now over here is the post, and you have more selections, effect selections, than you do on the pre. They're both pretty good sounding effects. Okay, down here is the guitar modeled parameters. We're currently set at all, which is all strings, or you can go into all 6 strings and individually edit the modeling for those strings. We're not going to go into that into this video right now. All right, right here is your picks fingers section. This knob here is the position that you're strumming on the guitar, whether you're up on the neck or closer to the pickups. And then beside that is the shape of the pick. To the right is a sharper pick, and to the left is a duller pick. Here is your string section. The tone knob to the right is a more metallic string, and to the left is more of a nylon string. Okay, and then this is the harmonicity between the strings. Yeah, say that 3 times real fast. And so that here you have less harmonics between strings. Here you can hear kind of phasing. You have more harmonics. This is the coupling, which basically is the beating of the strings. There is no beating, and then here you can really hear the beating between the strings. Okay, this is your hammer-on adjustment, and what you've got is you can do a hammer-on, and of course that adjusts the amplifier amplitude of that. Here is your palm mute. You have 2 keys here that you can do a palm mute, and that's more of an open palm mute and more of a closed palm mute. Okay, next to this, that is your 2 pickups. You have a neck pickup and a body pickup, and you can combine both of them. And you have a volume down here, and you can use this volume to enhance the overdrive. It works pretty well. Okay, now down below that is your strum section. This controls all your strum parameters. We are currently in auto strum. I'll show you, see, so that if I play a chord, I get a strum. If I turn that off, I don't get a strum, because you have to play now your strum strings. Anyways, and then now over here is your chord. You have, you can select the different types of chord structure. You have a movable root, movable lowest, open root, different kinds for different kinds of playing music. You have your playing position on the fret up to the 8th fret. Below that you have a Midi loop player, and they actually give you, if you click this button here, a good selection of Midi loops. and it's some pretty good sounding stuff. You can play it. You can select the next one. A cool thing about this is you can go and find some really cool MIDI loops that the factory did, and then you can figure out exactly how they did it, and it teaches you a lot about how to play this thing. When you have one pulled up here and you're playing this inside your DAW, you can click here and drag that MIDI loop into the track on your DAW, which is really nice. So that also helps you to figure out exactly what they're doing. This is a detection. What that is when you have this thing set in not auto, you have to actually play the chord first, just like a real guitarist, before you strum. If you strum, but you haven't played the chord, it doesn't play. So what that does is it changes the time it takes for it to detect between the chord and the strum, and that can help you out. This here is the strumming speed. Sorry, I gotta go back into auto. Pretty obvious what that does, and then you can control that down here with velocity. To the right on this one, this is your strumming speed. Let's see, the softer you play, the slower it strums, and the faster you play, the faster it strums. And you have the opposite on this side. The harder you play, the slower it strums. This is your range. If you look over here, you can see the strings that are being strummed. And what this does is this changes how many strings are strummed. And to the right, the faster you strum, the more strings it plays. The softer you play, the less strings it plays. And the opposite down this way, so that you play it soft, you get all the strings. You play it real fast, and it reduces the number of strings being strummed. Of course, here is your chord indicator showing you the chord that's being strummed and how that's configured on the guitar neck. That's pretty cool. And then down here, if you look, as we looked at just a second ago, this is showing the strings that are being strummed, and you can adjust how many strings are actually being played any way you want, down to one single string or anywhere on any of the 6 strings. Okay, and below that you have an alternate strum. You can access that by, you have your 2 strum keys here. And below that is, if you hold it, you can see it lights that up. I now have an alternate strum, so that you can create a second strum. And that's really nice. Gives you some more realism. Of course, over here you have tuning. Below that you have an octave button, and what this does is if you have a smaller keyboard, it shifts the octave that the Strum Electric is using, and it lets you access all the keys that you need to access. And below that is you can have a bend. When you press your aftertouch, it'll do a bend, and you can adjust the amount of bend. Over here is your pitch wheel adjustments. You have the range of the pitch. You have 2 selections. You have bend. Of course, you have regular bend, and you can go into slide. And let me pick some more semitones here, and you can get slide across, up the neck. This is your pedal. You have 2 choices. You can either hold the chords, or it can be the alternate strum, which is this strum here, instead of holding the key on the keyboard. Next up is your velocity. You can control the strumming with. You can strum this section here can be controlled with velocity. Your picking and your fingers. And then below that is your palm mute. This adjustment here can be controlled with velocity. Those are both 2 really nice parameters. And then finally over here you have your mod wheel. You have of course your depth and your speed to get your set up your modulation. And that's pretty much it. That's a quick overview of Strum Electric. It's a really cool sounding simulator. And my next video I will do some demonstrations of what you can do with this thing.